Sam Fender is making waves. See what we're doing there? In the music industry.
Oh,
yeah, you see? His debut album is storming to the top of the charts. His music addresses issues from nuclear war, climate change and male suicide.
He's got some serious fans, the likes of Stormzy, Sting and Sir Elton John. Have a look.
And Sam joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
I love the fact that when you sat on the sofa, you went, "This is totally unreal."
It's just completely surreal.
Surreal is the word you used, exactly. So the album, your debut album, was released on Friday.
No, it's out now. It's already out.
It was out last Friday.
It was out last Friday.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And that's all right. And has stormed up to the top of the charts.
It's going mental. I mean, fingers crossed it stays there for tomorrow.
What do you think people are attracted to?
I think I try not to beat it around the bush with my lyrics, and I don't have any answers for anything with the things that I talk about. I just kind of ask questions from the perspective of a 20-year-old lad from Newcastle.
Give us a little sense, for people who are not familiar with the story, about how I mean, we're saying it sort of suddenly happened for you. You've written songs for a while, presumably. Just give us a sense of how this happened.
It's actually been like a 7-year journey. So, like, I left my sixth form college with terrible grades and went and worked in a pub. And my manager, Ben Howard's manager, walked into the bar where I was working because he's come back home to celebrate after Ben won some Brit Awards. And then he saw me playing. My bar manager, who looks like Winston Churchill, was like, "Go get your guitar out, boy," and sit in the corner and play. And I didn't know why, because I was normally getting in trouble for playing guitar. And I sat and played.
But you had a few of your own songs at that point.
Yeah.
So you're playing your own songs,
came over,
doing a little thing.
And he came over and he went, "Have you got any originals?" And I went, "Yeah, I've got some originals." And I stopped playing some originals, and then he took me on. And then I started writing more songs.
Hold on, you skipped a bit there. You say he took you on.
Yeah.
Can you remember the moment when he went, what I'd like to do is this?
I'll tell you what happened. He was really drunk and he bought us a whiskey. And then he came back a week later and listened to some more stuff, and he went, "Oh, we're going to go down to London and do some recording." And then I went into the toilet and had a little cry because I was just so overwhelmed. And then it's just been like 7 years of relentless gigging and learning and toured with everybody under the sun, and then finally, we've got the album out, and I can't believe it. I'm on the telly.
You are indeed. We've still got loads of time to talk to you, which is great. You said you like to talk about things from a straightforward point of view. Don't mess around, or don't beat around the bush. You take on male suicide. You take on nuclear weapons, climate change. How do you make that? When you're writing, they're pretty weighty subjects, aren't they? I mean, the male suicide one was from your personal experience.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the songs I write are from the perspective of characters, but with that song in particular, was Dead Boys. I lost a friend to suicide, and also lost somebody else who I knew, but one I was closer to. And then I kind of wrote it like as a reactionary thing, because I use songwriting. It's quite a cathartic thing to do when you can't really talk about something, so I wrote about that. It's not got many lyrics in it, it's more just kind of about the abject shock of losing somebody. And then I was kind of sceptical of whether to release it or not, because I didn't want to be seen as capitalising on like a tragedy or capitalising on my friend's death, you know. And we played it within our inner circle, with the people that I worked with, and suddenly everybody started talking about it, and it was like, oh, I'd be talking to a friend, he'd be like, "Oh, my dad actually took his life," and I'd be like, "I didn't know about this." And suddenly we realised that everybody that we worked with had a deep connection to it, because everybody had known somebody who had done it, or and then because you write about it, you become more sensitive to it, and I started noticing how prevalent it was in my hometown and in the northeast and in the UK, and saw that the stats were like, 84 men take their lives a week in this country, and it's the biggest killer of men under the age of 45, which is completely staggering, So we thought, yeah, we're going to release this, and we did, and since then there's been nothing but positivity, and it's raised a conversation, which is, I'm really proud of that, and there was actually so much so, there was a guy who was actually suicidal, was driving, and he was going to drive his car off the road, and coincidentally had the radio on, and I was on 5 Live talking to Neil, And we were talking about Dead Boys, and we were talking about male suicide, but we were talking about mental health and how it's hard to open up and stuff like that, and all of that sort of stuff. And that's all it took for him to stop the car, because he was going to run it off the road.
And you've now...
Well, we found out 6 months after that show, because he sent an anonymous email 6 months later, and then he came and met me at a show, and then did a...
How was that?
It was just, like, so surreal. Obviously, I don't have any answers, or I'm not, like, you know, I'm never going to overestimate the clout of my job. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm not, like, a doctor or a hero. Like, they're the real heroes in the world, the people that are actually saving lives, and the police and the teachers, and they're the real people that are doing good. But it was just kind of like the one moment in my life where, like, my career, something happened where a song connected, raised a conversation, and it gave this person just a split second to change their perspective, and they went back home, and he went to his wife and said, you know, I need help. And then that was the kind of catalyst which led him to get help. And that is the proudest moment of my career. No matter how many records I sell, no matter whether I go to #1 or whatever tomorrow, like, all of that sort of stuff is great, but that's the best thing that I think.
Well, you stop someone from taking their own life.
Yeah, I mean, that puts other things into perspective, doesn't it? Which makes my next question sound rather trite. You've met some pretty famous people along the way who are fans.
Yeah.
So go through the list.
Elton John, Sting, Stormzy.
Go on then, talk about Sting. How's that come about? Because, of course, he's from the North East as well.
There, isn't he? He's from Wallsend, which is just down the road from Shields, where I'm from. And he like, found out he was a fan. We had a gig in Toronto. We were playing in this place called the Horseshoe Tavern, which is, funnily enough, it's where the police did their first gig across the Atlantic. And apparently they played that to 12 people. Right. And it was just the most surreal moment. Me and the lads were on stage playing. And we're like, I turn halfway through it, so at the end of a song, I go, is that Sting? In the back of the room. And Drew's like, hi, that's Sting, like. And he was just sat with Trudy, his wife. And then it was like, by the third song, he was like jumping about in the back of the room. I was like, Sting's having a dance. Then he came into the back room after, and he came up to us and he just went, I'm so proud of you. Oh. And I, like, was stunned. And the only thing I said back, I was like, I'm really proud of you, Sting.
Oh, I'm sure he's very pleased to know it. You've had advice from Elton John about the industry?
Yeah, he's been...
What's that?
Well, all sorts of stuff, you know. Look after yourself, mostly, I think. No, he's just been wonderful. I went for tea at his house, which was really surreal and wonderful. And,
cup of tea or dinner?
No, I went for dinner. I went for tea, for me tea, and it was just nuts. It was crackers. We had a really wonderful time. I sat with him and David Furness, his husband, and we just chatted about music. And
what did you have?
It was like a salmon pea mint terrine thingy. There was a, what do you ever call it, like a puree thing.
Oh, like a cold...
Yeah, like a puree thing with the salmon on. And then we had like a chicken Caesar thing, and then like this chocolate pudding, which was spot on.
Do you know what? It's absolutely delightful talking to you.
And you're
I wish you all the best.
Oh, you're fantastic. You're playing with... I want to mention, you're playing with Liam Gallagher this weekend at a private
on Saturday,
gig.
yeah.
It's one of the most talked about things at the moment happening this weekend.
So buzzing, man. I can't wait to meet him. It's going to be a roar.
So you've not met him yet?
No.
Good luck.
I've got my cake.
Have you?
It's his birthday.
Did you bake him it?
I haven't baked him it, like. I'm getting him a cake.
Chocolate?
No, it's a Man City cake.
Tasty. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much. We should say Sam's album is called Hypersonic Missiles.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Time is...